What's going on? What's going on? What's going on, guys? It's your boy Tay, and today I had a comment in one of my videos that I thought would be an incredible video to do because she asked me if I had any advice for her because her son was going to prison. And I actually feel like I do have some advice that she can probably utilize while her son's locked away. First thing I want to say is, while we're out there committing these crimes or putting ourselves in a position to go to jail, because that's a lot of times us going to jail and prisons can be avoided. It really, really can. We put ourselves in positions to lead us to jail. Unfortunately, of course, there's people back there who didn't commit the crime that they committed and they are falsely accused and they shouldn't be back there. I understand that. But again, there's a lot of people in prison who, hate to say this, they belong there. It's just what it is, I was charged with armed robbery. I got convicted of armed robbery. I belong in prison. I mean, that's just what it was. I shouldn't have been out there hanging with people who put me in a position to go to jail for armed robbery. That's something that I could have prevented myself. But the advice when it comes to parents and their children going to jail, and this advice, it doesn't matter if your child is 17 or if he's 55. If you have a child and they are locked up, just try to keep that child involved at all times. If anything's going on the streets, just try to keep him involved, because he's going to be so stressed with things that's going on in prison. Any good news that he can have on the streets, if something's positive that's going on, he's going to want to hear that. Just keep him involved. Even though whoever is locked up will become a financial burden to you, just try to take it easy on them and go ahead and establish immediately what you're willing to do for them while they're locked up. So if you know that you're going to be able to send him some money monthly, just go ahead and establish, like, look, I'm going to be able to do this for you every single month. And if I'm able to do more, I will. But if I'm not able to do more, then that's just what it is. Again, you put yourself in this position, and as your parent, I'm going to be here for you the best way that I can. That doesn't mean I'm going to carry you through your entire bid, because those commissary tickets can get long. Those phone bills can get long as well. So you got to consider all of that. How many times are you going to answer the phone for him? Are you going to actually write him letters? So with all that, I'm going to say one of the main things, be honest with him at all times. You got people, when I was personally locked up, who were like, yo, I'm going to send you some money, and they never did. Another thing that I'm going to say is, we're locked up. We know what we did. You don't have to beat us down while we were locked up. There was a time while I was locked up, I was reaching out and I was asking for money or whatever the case may be, because again, prison sucks. It's certain prisons you can't go work and make money. So you're just really doing what you can do to survive and eating. I mean, yeah, they feed you, but prison meal sucks. That's just what it is. It's rare you have a really good meal back there. So you need canteen. So when you have to call home and ask people for money and they're like, oh, I'm going to do it. And then they don't. You're like, man, you said you would send me some money. Well, you put yourself back there. It's like, whoa. First of all, I know I put myself back here. Why you got to keep beating me with that? Don't keep beating your son with the time that he put himself in. He knows he did that time. He knows what he did to get that time. He knows he has to do this time. Don't beat it over his head. A lot of people do that. Yeah, you did that. It's your fault. You just do. Okay, it's either you're going to be here for me or you're not. Don't tell me stuff. And then when you don't come through and I ask you about it, you flip on me and try to reverse the whole situation I was about to say it's my fault, because it is my fault, but it's your fault for telling me that you're going to do something and then don't do it. So just try to be honest at all times. If you don't think you're going to be able to help him in certain areas, let him know immediately, off top, I'm not going to be able to help you in this area. If you don't want to write letters, let him know now, look, I'm not going to be writing no letters, because when mail call comes, that's something that he's going to look forward to, getting those letters in the mail. So if it's something that you could do, if you're a typer, if you could sit down and just type him a letter once every blue moon, if that's something that you're okay with, just send him a letter. Those times that you hear your name at mail call randomly, that brightens your life so much. Getting pictures, nowadays with the email system, a lot of prisons, you can just email back and forth. And that also depends on what yard he goes to, what I mean? And again, I don't know your situation when it comes to the money, but I think that's going to be the main thing that he's going to reach out to you for, and I need you to understand, is at times it's going to feel like he's using you, but he's probably not. He probably just wants to eat, and he probably just wants to survive in prison, because you need a lot of money to survive in prison sometimes, you know. Groceries are expensive. So he needs to either have a budget made for him, set, or he needs to decide which is more important to him, calling home or receiving money for that canteen. All that matters, you know. So I guess that's really up to you. And does he have other people who are going to be supportive of him? If so, I don't know if he has a girlfriend on the streets or if he has children or anything like that. But I would just say, make sure that whoever's on the street, make sure that they're staying in touch. Like, make sure the mom's keeping in touch with his kids and his baby mama or his wife, or, you know, just make sure like the family is involved with him. And if you're like the key that holds the family together, I would say just to make sure that the other family's involved too, because a lot of people can forget that somebody's gone and locked up. Christmas time will come around and you get around the family and like, oh man, Douglas, oh man, Douglas is still locked up. Man, I need to write Douglas. It's been 7-8 months. Time will go by so fast for you, but for the people back there who are locked up, time is going by so slow. So just don't forget about them and just don't lie to them, I guess. And remember this too. You are actually doing time with the person who is locked up. You have to go out your way to go visit them. You have to go out your way to pick up the phone, to listen to them call you and interrupt your whatever. It can be your favorite TV show that they normally would never call you during. They're going to call you now because they are locked up. All I can really honestly say, man, when it comes down to what you can do for somebody who's locked up, don't BS them. Keep it real with them. Try to be as supportive as you possibly can. That's not saying that you have to pick up every single phone call every single day. They're calling you all the time. You have to write them letters every single day. You have to send them money every single week. I'm not saying none of that. I'm just saying keep it real. Be as supportive as you possibly can. You know what you were already doing for them on the streets. Continue that while they're locked up. You know, if you were the type who would always hold them down if they were in trouble or something when they were on the streets, if you bailed them out a lot of times when they were on the streets, continue to look out for them when they're locked up. I'm not saying if they're the reckless type to spend money crazy when they get back in prison to send them money all the time. And I'm definitely not saying if they have any habits to support them in their habits. But if you know that your child is back there and they don't really have anything, just try to be there for them in the best way that you possibly can. And that is actually in all areas. Again, I go back to financially because that's probably going to be the number one thing that people in jail, when they call their family about, that's what it is. A, can you put more money on the phone? A, can you send me some money to my commissary? A, can you put money on somebody else's books because they got a deal for me? Or I don't even know, maybe if they smoke cigarettes or something like that. I don't know what the case may be, but financially that's going to be the biggest burden in the world to whomever has a loved one locked up, because that's all they're going to hear. And then you got to think again, I go back to canteens, very expensive when you're locked up. People are paying $1 and some change for some 25-cent noodles. So just think about that, and think about if you were locked up, what would you want somebody to do for you? And I know it's hard to put yourself in somebody's shoes who's been locked up, because you see a lot of people who watch a lot of locked up TV shows and they just have this perception of what being locked up really is, and people really don't have an idea what jail really is. Jail is a mental battle, man, and one of the main mental battles that people have when they're locked up is feeling like they don't have support at all. And that's when people get in a lot of trouble, when they don't have that support on the street. A lot of people have support when they're locked up for around 5 to 6 months or so. After that 6-month mark, a lot of people, loved ones, fall off. And I'm talking about they just like completely disappear. They don't write letters no more. They sporadically send money. They sporadically even come to visit. Like, all that stops after the 6 months. So what I would say is, maybe if he has a lot of friends, maybe, again, you know, his support system, you don't have to be the one who's really by his side initially the first few months he's locked up. Of course, be there, but you don't have to be the main one, because he's going to need a main one when he's really in his bed. And for me, my mother was my main one. Um, I had support throughout my bid from different random people. I'm not saying that I didn't, but my mother was the most consistent person from day one till day last. Like my mom was the most consistent person. And when I say that, there was a lot of times I wanted more money that she didn't send me. And there was a lot of times that, I wanted extra stuff and she just said no, because she established from the jump, like day one, I'm going to give you this budget for this amount of time. And then while I was doing my bid, it changed. Okay, now you've been down long enough. You shouldn't need as much. So now your budget's going to change from this to this. But little did she know that, yeah, my budget changed and my price went down, but prices was going up in prison. Inflation happens in prison. So you got to think, when I first went to jail, things were 50 cents. And those things that were 50 cents were now $2. And then she took my money away. So I had to find my own hustle. But I was still grateful for what she was doing, because, again, she was there from day one till day, like, all the way. And so with that being said, my mom, she sent me money once a month, and I knew what it was. And, sometimes we did holiday packages. She did that sometimes. Sometimes she didn't. It just all depends on how she was feeling. And she came to see me, not every single weekend. When she felt like it, she came to see me about once every so often. And again, she did a lot of time overseas, and there was a lot of different reasons, and I was in a completely different state. But with that being said, like, my mom, she was really rock solid. I don't even think she wrote me my entire bid. Maybe once or twice. Maybe she wrote me once or twice. Maybe. I wish she would have wrote me more. Yeah. But do I hate that she didn't? No, because she kept it real. She wasn't about to write me. I mean, she just don't sit down and write letters. Who sits down and write letters no more? But luckily they came out with the email thing, so you can just actually email people. But yeah, I guess the main advice, I know I was all over, and I do that all the time. I start making these videos and I'm all over the place. But the main thing that I would say to you, if you have anybody being locked up, man, just try to keep it real with them at all times. Don't make false promises that you can't keep. Try to be the best support system that you can for them. Listen to them when they call you and complaining and just talking about what's been going on the yard. And even though they put themselves in there, just listen, say, you're going to have a max out day to get better. And if there's somebody who's happened to be doing life, unfortunately, and they don't come home, just try to be encouraging in any other positive way that you can. Just let them know that, they still have life, even though they are locked up. And they will realize that after being locked up for a while, because you still do have a life. It's just, you don't have the life that you want. You just have to create a whole new life that you can get comfortable with. So let's try to continue to encourage them that, that they can continue to make it. I don't know anybody's cases, so that's why this can be so broad too. Maybe it's somebody who has a possibility for parole. Maybe it's somebody who will never see the light of day again. Like, again, that is so broad when it comes to how to be supportive of somebody in prison. But if they are a pedophile, I would say don't be supportive. Nah, I'm not gonna say that, even though I really want to say that. But all jokes aside, though, yeah, just be real. I think that's the best thing that we can always do. Just be real, man. I'm so grateful for those who are real to me. There were people who I would call home and be like, "Yo, do this for me." Nope, can't do it. And then there were those who I would call home and be like, "Yo, can you do this for me?" And they're like, "Yeah," and I would get excited, and they would just never do it. So just don't be one of those people, man, because my life already sucked on the inside, not being able to do what I wanted to do when I wanted to do it, not being able to be a man and work for myself, not being able to toil the field like, we're supposed to, and actually earn our own money. But I have to, like, get on the phone and beg people to send me money, and then them telling me no, or them telling me, yeah, I'm going to do it, and then just don't. Those are some of the hardest times I had in the prison, just because I was like, I had nobody. When I reached out for something, I would get rejected, and that hurt. It made you not want to really reach out to anybody else, and then it also made you want to do dumb stuff in prison. And you just want to be as supportive as you can for somebody at all times. And again, and that's just by being as real as you possibly can. And that's some of the hardest things for people to actually do, to be honest. It really, really is. And again, I go back to this: you're doing time with whoever is doing that time. It's going to be a mental battle for you too. You're going to constantly be worried about, is your loved one okay? Is he safe? Just know this: there are a lot of good, safe days in prisons and jails. Out of the 365 days, there are probably 340 40 something good days. He'll be safe. He'll be good to go. He won't be in any drama. But there are 30 good days a year where it's just riot central. You never know what's going to happen. Some people can wake up on the wrong side of the bed. But he's probably safer in jail than he would have been on the streets if he's in jail for a dangerous act, especially if that makes any sense. You know, I know a lot of people say that, like, oh, my child's safer in jail. That can be true in a lot of situations. So try to think of all the positive sides of him being locked up. It's kind of sad, like it just even talking about being locked up and just yeah, it sucks, man. It really sucks not having any kind of good support system while you're locked up. It really, really does. So just try to be the best support system that you possibly can and establish that relationship and just let him know, like, this is what I can do and this is what I can't do. And this is what I want you to expect. And then also, because you're his mother, set expectations for him. You know, like, while you're back there, I need you to be doing this, this, and this. Do some positive things while you're back there. Let him know, like, there are actually programs that he can probably get in to help him when he comes home. There are books that you can probably be ordering for him to help him when he comes home. Just go ahead and try to get him to think about what he's going to do when he comes home now. And that's probably all the advice I really have. Yeah, again, I'm sorry. I was probably all over the place. And if anybody's watching this video and you have a loved one that's locked up, you know, shoot them a kite, shoot them a message, let them know that you love them. You know, I know some of you who've watched this video probably haven't even talked to your loved one in a while, or it's been a minute since you answered their call, or you probably ignored them because they probably called too much. But just be real with people who are locked up, man. At the end of the day, just be real with them, man. That's all you really can do. But yeah, that's pretty much it, man. Make sure that you bless somebody today, because I promise you I'm gonna bless somebody tomorrow. And yeah, anybody who has anybody who's locked up, a loved one that's locked up, I feel for you, because I know y'all are doing time too. Like, people don't realize that when you have loved ones, it sucks when they're gone. Like, yeah, it sucks. But anyways, y'all bless somebody today, and I'm gonna bless somebody tomorrow. At this point in time, your boy Tay, I'm out.